My name is Herb Street. I'm a paranormal investigator. I've got a group called Ghost City Paranormal. I've been doing this for many years now. I want to talk a little bit about life after death and getting validation from the other side. I developed a method called the Herb Street method. It's using real-time analysis, using a voice recorder, a K2 meter, tri-field meter, and a video camera. Multiple camera angles, multiple devices at all time, in real time. Now, when you're asking questions with the other side, there's numerous groups out there that go in, they investigate the paranormal, they hit record, they set down an audio device, they start their EVP session. This is December 22nd, 2009, basement EVP session. And then they ask a series of questions for a half hour, maybe 40 minutes, an hour. Now, instead of doing that, I would suggest using real-time analysis. You hit record, wait 2 to 3 seconds, ask a question, who is here? Wait 10 to 12 seconds, press stop, play it back, wait 2 to 3 seconds, ask a question, play it back in real time with multiple camera angles on the investigator, on the surroundings, so you don't miss anything. If there's a shadow person, or if there's a full body apparition, or a mist, or an object moving, you don't want to miss that. That's why you have an investigator filming the investigator, another camera angle on the surroundings so you don't miss anything. And if you're on location and there's only 2 or 3, don't worry, use a tripod. Throw a camera on a tripod. Make sure you have IR light. This is a IR light so that you can see in complete darkness, or you can also do this with lights on. Now, life after death. I have been doing this a very long time now, and I have captured numerous EVPs, K2 hits, interaction to answer direct questions. Now, this is so gratifying to know that there is something else. I spent so much time thinking that there wasn't anything. I mean, I've lost so many people in my life, and I thought to myself, why would this be allowed to happen? If there was another side, if there was a heaven, if there was a God, why would this happen? And I know if you have faith, you don't need evidence. But for me, I needed the evidence. I needed to know for sure that there was something else. Now, you could do this on your own. Anyone on the planet can do this. And like I've said in the past, you can get any kind of evidence anywhere on the planet. You don't have to go into a haunted house. You don't have to go into an old abandoned building. You could do this in a parking lot, in a park, in the mall. I mean, people have been living and dying on this planet for thousands of years. So you're going to get some of that energy. Okay? Something has to be left behind. And I've captured evidence of this. And you don't have to take my word for it. This developed method, anyone can use. Okay? And I developed this method to share with the world. This isn't something I want to keep to myself. Oh, you know, this is my special technique. This is for anyone to use. And anyone can do this. You can contact me directly if you have any questions. Herb, H-E-R-B, 224man at AOL.com. That's Herb, H-E-R-B, 224man at AOL.com. And you could also find me on Facebook or MySpace. If you want to check out the websites to see what kind of evidence we have as far as pictures, videos, you can go Ghost City Paranormal at YouTube.com. You can check out all our videos, all of our evidence. I work with a great bunch of people at Ghost City Paranormal. We go into locations. We try to capture evidence of the other side. We go into a location, try to prove or disprove paranormal activity. I have worked with numerous investigators, well-known investigators in the paranormal field, and shown them this method, and I've explained to numerous investigators that this is something that really needs to be looked at. I mean, there's no reason why we have to stay in these old methods and old techniques, and I'm not knocking anybody for that, but this is something that anyone can use, and it's a great thing. You go on location, you press record, and you ask questions for an hour or two. How effective is that? You go home, you get help me. How do you help that entity? How do you help the client? If you leave that person's house that night, How can you answer them if the location's haunted until you go over all the evidence? Now, if you're using real-time analysis, you know whether or not you're communicating with the spirit. Same thing with the K2 session. If you're doing a K2 session, you should have multiple devices, not just one K2. If you're a paranormal group, you should consolidate your resources. Have 4 or 5 different K2 meters. I've seen time and time again when we're communicating with the other side. Now, we don't just use K2 session. We're using K2. We're using the tri-field meter because it has a setting on here for radio wave, which helps solidify that we are actually communicating with the other side and we're not catching rogue radio signals. Okay, so we've got the tri-field meter set up. We've got multiple cameras set up. We've got the K2 set up. And we're doing an EVP session all at the same time. This is the Herb Street method, using all the methods, all the techniques that are out there today to the best of their abilities. Now, like I said, this is something that we can all use. And I'm not trying to push this on anyone, but I highly suggest that you should attempt this. And for all the skeptics out there that think that there are no such thing as ghosts, I ask you, try this. Get an audio device. Ask some questions. You don't have to go as far as we do here at Ghost City Paranormal to prove or disprove a haunting. You could just grab an audio device, sit at your house, go to a park, go to a parking lot, anywhere, in your bathroom. I mean, you could do it anywhere. Ask some questions. And you don't want to give up after you do an EVP session. Say you don't get nothing for a half hour. Move on to the next location, to the next room. Start asking questions. Common Collective. Who's here? Would you like to talk with me? My name is Herb. What is yours? Like I said, 2 to 3 seconds before you ask. After you ask the question, you give the spirit at least 10 to 12 seconds to respond. Stop, play it back in real time. Now, if you're doing this as a paranormal group, I strongly suggest the multiple camera angles because you all know how much scrutiny this field is under. And if we're going to solidify the claims of paranormal activity to try to prove to the world that there is another side, we have to make sure that we cover all our bases. That's why I use multiple devices, multiple camera angles. That's why I love the tri-field mirror. I mean, this right here, when people are telling you you're catching rogue radio signals when you're catching EVPs, number one, if you're getting answers to direct questions, that's out right there. and you're not getting spikes with the tri-field mirror when it sets a radio. How do you explain that? It's something supernatural. You're communicating with something from the other side. Now, the theories and techniques that I've developed over time are through direct communication with the other side. Now, we should all come together here, everyone, and work together to get this method out there. Now, I'm not looking for anything except for, acknowledgement for the discovery of this technique. I'm not looking to make any money. All I'm doing is trying to get this out there for people to see that there is another side and we can communicate. Because we're not here forever, folks. Eventually we wither and we pass away and we continue somewhere else, which is right here, folks. And we can communicate with that other side. Now, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to know 100% that there is a heaven, okay? Now, I'm saying that with certainty, okay, through evidence. I've had responses from the other side saying, yes, there is a heaven. It's beautiful. Great EVPs. I've had wonderful communications with the K2 meter, with the EMF meters, answers to direct questions. Now, sure, there's people out there that say, well, how do you know you're communicating with your loved ones? You have to solidify those claims. You have to ask questions that your loved ones would only know, things that you would only know. You do not want to say out loud, okay? Because if this is a spirit, it may want to pretend to be one of your loved ones because it's lost, it's lonely, it doesn't know where it is, he or she is, okay? So you got to be very careful when you're communicating with the other side, especially if you think you're communicating with your loved one. Now, if you have any questions about the afterlife, about the method, you'd like to come with me and my team on an investigation, or you'd like us to come into your home or place of business to try to make contact with the other side, we could come in, we could film for the show, or we can come in and do it completely discreet and do undisclosed location and not even broadcast it for the show. You can contact me once again at herb224man@AOL.com or ghostcityparanormal@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.